Let's tighten up, not and up, in. Tighten up. It's your boy, the One Piece Shark, back here again. Let's Tighten Up podcast with a guest today, Mike Patton, host of touring AFC South and freelance writer. Man, how you doing?
Doing great. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, and real good. Glad you were able to come on. Love your work. So, anytime I get a guest on, first thing I do is do a Q&A, ask you a couple questions, get to let the crowd get to know you a little better. So, first up, where are you from? Where are you from? Where you currently living?
Well, born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee, and I actually live here as well. So, haven't really strayed too far away unless I went to college. That was the only time.
Okay, cool. So 3 hour drive east of me, Memphis, Nashville. So you were in Titan country.
Right.
So, next question. So you are a podcaster and a writer. So what got you into both podcasting and writing?
Okay, I'm gonna start with writing first. Writing started back in 2010. I was riding home, listening to Atlanta radio. I think 92.9 The Game I was listening to. And something came on. I can't remember exactly what, but it frustrated me. And I was like, man, I could do that. I could write that. I could do that. And at that point, well, she is my wife now, but she was my fiance then. Nice. She looked at me and was like, well, if you can do it, go ahead and try. Do it. So at that point, came home, started my own little blog and started writing from there. And it's kind of grown and evolved and changed, and my writing has changed as I've gotten older and done it more. Podcasting, actually, I've been going in and out of podcasting for probably a couple years.
Okay.
And what I did was I'd do a couple shows, but then I'd run out of time because I'd be doing writing too. So this time I was like, I'm going to stick with it. I'm not going away. I'm going to continue to put all I can into it and see what happens. So now I'm stuck in it. I enjoy it more. I've got more of a connection, I should say, with it. And I'm not going anywhere this time.
Nice. So interesting you say that, because I think when I first started podcasting, same kind of story where like I was trying to be consistent. Then I ended up, I wrote this out in my 2 weeks ago. We had our 150th episode for our Let's Be Real podcast and kind of detailed the whole thing. So what happened, me quitting after a couple months of starting and then restarting a couple months later with the rest of the guys. So I definitely feel where you're coming from with the, being in and out, then finally sticking to it. So,
right.
Why did you decide to do an AFC South podcast?
Well, I kind of looked around and I noticed, I'm like, okay, cool. Plenty of people talk about the NFC East, plenty of people talk about the NFC West, and all those different divisions. There's not a podcast to talk about the AFC South. Nobody gives the AFC South any love. So I'm like, well, look, I'm going to be that guy to start up something. I know people that are Indianapolis Colts fans and that cover the Colts. I knew some people with the Texans. I knew some people that Titans and then Jaguars. And it was all about finding those people, connecting those people, and kind of, I guess, showcasing them as well. Through the show. So when that kind of idea started going, I started putting together guest lists and reaching out to people, and that's where the idea kind of came out and originated right there.
Okay, nice. It's interesting you say that, because when I did first meet you and saw you at the podcast, I was like, that's the first person I ever seen like with AFC South. Like, like I said, we are a division that's never talked about. So yeah, that's a real good one. Who's your favorite NFL team?
Favorite NFL team, contrary to belief, it's not the Tennessee Titans. I was born here. Of course, I'm not going to throw out my age, but anyway, the Titans weren't here when I was born. Right. And by the time I was of a certain age, that's when the Titans came here. So at that point, I was already a fan of a team called the San Francisco 49ers. Reason why I became a fan of that team, because growing up, I wanted to be Jerry Rice. I wanted to do everything Jerry Rice did. Then I got to a certain age and realized I couldn't catch the ball like he could, and I just couldn't run routes like that. So ended up becoming a defensive back.
Nice, nice. So did you play in college?
Yes, I did. Played at
Nice,
UT Martin.
nice, nice. So I didn't play in. I ended up not playing in the college, but I did play in high school. So I played mixture of everything: linebacker, tight end, receiver, safety, some. So kind of know the ways around playing different positions.
Right.
Uh, so advice. What is the advice you would have for someone thinking of becoming a writer or a podcaster? What is the advice you would give them?
Honestly, the biggest thing I would say is to observe and listen. Um, a lot of things you learn by, you can learn a lot of things by watching people. Because I mean, honestly, coming into writing and podcasting, I didn't know very much at all. What I've done is I've listened to a lot of podcasts, I've read a lot of things, and I've asked a lot of questions. When you do those type of things and you kind of get to it and kind of find out, what your niche is within those things that you learn and kind of apply those things you learn, that's the biggest thing to me. Observing, listening, and then, asking questions. Not so much talking, but
Mm-hmm.
more listening and taking in and applying.
Nice, great advice. That's definitely advice I definitely took on. Growing up, I was a person. Still, even sometimes now, I don't like to ask questions. I like to try and figure out my own before I finally ask. But like you said, with podcasting, you kind of have to learn to ask. Even with writing, we had a conversation on Twitter one time, and I said I didn't like writing, but just hearing your story, talk about it, and it kind of got me into thinking about possibly writing more, which I am thinking about. So I definitely thank you for that conversation. That has kind of inspired me some to get into writing.
Awesome, man. I mean, I'll say this. I didn't go to school for writing. I got a marketing degree. Um, but what I almost failed my senior year of high school because of writing. I actually hated writing so much that I wrote a horrible story, got a horrible grade, and barely passed my senior year in English class,
Uh,
so I could graduate. So imagine to my surprise that I like writing now. But I just took those basic lessons when nobody thought I was actually listening and
mm-hmm.
applied those to what and I do. And I actually like writing not only sports but other things as well. So, I guess I just wasn't writing about the things I didn't, I liked essentially. So anything is possible if you put your mind to it and you really, do your homework.
Right. Agree. And a lot of it comes to kind of maturity. Like I said, you was young at that time, 18 years old, 17 or 18, about to graduate high school, just playing football. You just like, hey, I'm just trying to get to college play. That probably was the case. Then get older, like you said, you took mental reps, took mental notes, and you get to a point now, settle down, like, I actually do enjoy this. So,
Right.
yep, that's what's up. That's what's up. So, man, thanks for the Q&A. Like I said, thanks again for coming on to the show. So, where can everybody who's listening to the show follow you or
Well, you
find
can
you?
you can find me on Twitter at Mike Patton 82. That's at MikePatton 82. And of course, you can find me on all listening platforms, touring the AFC South. Got another show for everyone dropping tomorrow featuring Miss Inkishi Free.
Nice, nice. So, man, I'm gonna stay on the lookout for that. I will be retweeting them the LBR Tighten Up Twitter page. So, our Titans fan, check him out. He did. He will speak about Titans on that podcast, and we're about to speak about him on this one. So let's go cut into it. Well, first, let's go. Got a couple of comments. I got J Film 17. Does Julio look washed? We will get into. Well, let's go answer that. Does he look washed? To me, no.
You want me to go ahead and answer now?
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, I would say no, but we haven't seen enough of Julio to just say
Right.
yes or no anyway at this point.
Exactly. Like I need to see him play a little more, but what I've seen, I haven't seen him look washed.
Right.
uh, I got Ryan Harris. What up, fellas? What up? He regular listener to the show. So shout out to my guy Ryan. He also has a Titans podcast as well. So week 4 review. All right, we play the Jags next. Guess let's talk about the Jags. 0-4. Urban Meyer stuff going on, which I know you talked about that too. What are your thoughts about the Jags so far? Urban Meyer, everything.
Oh boy, I will say this. You want me to go ahead and give you what I honestly think about the Jags?
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this. Urban Meyer is basically the leading actor on As the World Turns, because it is like a drama every week, and it's involving him. And more people are talking about Urban Meyer than they're actually talking about the actual team. And plenty of people are saying that I like today I saw a question, or yesterday I saw a question that they potentially could be 0, or they'd be 0-4 if you wouldn't be 0-4 if you paid attention to more coaching. I think that was Chris, our buddy Chris Lewis from Drop Balls Podcast.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to Chris as well. But he he fails to forget this team still isn't talented. They're still missing some pieces. But then again, it is an NFL team. And any given Sunday, they can rise up. And as the Titans saw against the Jets, if that bad team can jump up and bite you.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and get it. Well, here go my thoughts on the Jags. It's like the Jags they had the 1 year they made to the AFC Championship. They're always since the Byron Leftwich, David Gerard era, they've been consistently bad, bottom of the division. Outside of their one season, then got back bad right again. So it's like they just doing what they've been normally doing. They just got a new coach this time, and a coach who we all expect to make some type of excuse and leave after about 2 years, if that, at this point.
Right. They to put it in layman's terms, the Jags are jagging.
Right. Exactly. So the last couple weeks they've been close. I mean, they jumped out on the lead against the Cardinals. Of course, the Cardinals are a better team. They're the only undefeated team left in the NFL, ironically. So they lost that one, and they had a 14-0 lead against Cincinnati. Cincinnati came back, scored in every possession in the second half and won 24-21, and they're 3-1. So they have played tough against good opponents, including one opponent that beat us by 25 in week 1. So, and Titans, now shift over to the Titans. Last week, we just lost the Jets. So I know these folks can't be overlooking the Jaguars. And I saw the injury report today. We have 21 players. I repeat, 21 players on the injury report.
That's pretty amazing. And honestly, I think John Robinson and Mike Vrabel are playing mind games with Urban. They're having a little Patriot games, I think, in my opinion.
Low key, because 21 players is like overdoing it.
Yeah, that's like it is. It really is.
I saw the injury report. Like, it's 22 players when you count offense and defense.
Right.
Starting. Right. Then they got 21. So, but that's week 4. This is week 4 review. Jets. So I said on my Let's Be Real podcast, we do a pick 'em 3 NFL games per week. We didn't pick this game, but my guy Skyler came on. He was like, when we do our bets and stuff, he was like, I stay away from that Titans game after he saw AJ Brown, Julio was out. My response was saying, I can't necessarily say we won't get upset, because every year the Titans lose to, we beat teams who we're supposed to beat. We lose to teams who we're supposed to lose to. Case in point, week 2 against Seattle. When the whole world was against us, what we do, we come back and win the game, which that was a game we probably weren't supposed to win, but that's what we do. And we turn around and do what we did against the Jets. So my response, and let's be real, was there's no excuse for us not to lose, because AJ and Julio are out. The Jets are still one of the worst teams in the league. We still have Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. There was no excuse, in my opinion. Watching the game, there still was no excuse. We should have had more than 9 points. Throughout the first 3 quarters. We got to the red zone. I think every time it was third down, Tannehill got sacked. A lot of us blaming the offensive line. It's both. A couple of times he held it too long. Now, a couple of times the receivers weren't open too, so I can see why he held it too long. And it was no lane for him to really run, because the Jets defense was like.
Let me make a quick point. Quick point though. Also, you didn't mention the running backs because one time I looked in
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry is supposed to block a linebacker,
Yes.
and he
I see.
shovels to the side like he's the Temptations. I mean,
I
I
was,
don't know what was going on with that one, but that's a missed block. He got
yep.
it just was a combination. They couldn't pick up any of the stunts at all. It just and the one thing that has killed the Titans, and I've seen it repeatedly every single game, is the delayed blitz. The delayed blitz from any team is
Yeah.
killing the Titans each week.
And like you said, it's the running backs because Derrick Henry, his weakness is pass blocking. The reason he comes out the field on third down isn't only because it's a passing down. It's because sometimes the running back needs to block. And Derrick
Right.
Henry is not a good pass blocker for whatever reason. As he worked on it, he's gotten better since he was when he first was in the league. But that's the reason he wasn't starting when DeMarco Murray was here. DeMarco Murray can pass block. So it's just one of the things like Titans fans, we do need to. I can understand us getting frustrated on third and short when we take them out. Key play when we was in the red zone, it was 3rd and 1. We took them out on 3rd and 1. Then that's when the backup center threw the ball over Tannehill head. So
Yeah, I'm not even understanding that one. I was like, oh,
right. So typical Titans letdown. By the end of it, I was kind of glad we lost instead of tied. I wasn't mad at Randy Bullock. I know we had kicking problems, but he made 3 field goals in the game, including 2 extra points. Hey, you missed the game time kick that would have made us a tie. Hey, blah. We deserve to lose. Go ahead, take the loss. Learn from it like they do every. Like I said, I think this is like a history of a Titans thing. What we do. What do you think about just the performance and all, and the Titans and this consistency of playing down to inferior opponents?
I mean, the Titans have been doing that since the days of Steve McNair and Eddie Jordan.
Yep.
So if anyone thinks they're going to do something different every year, then I've got I've got a 4-leaf clover for you, and I've got a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. They're not. They're going to do this every year. Unfortunately, this is their MO. And also, it's just to me, it's just what they do. The thing that always gets me about the Titans every year is that if the Titans start off well, then nobody's really talking about them. Then you got Titans players saying, "Well, they're not talking about us," or fans will start saying, "Oh, they're not talking about us." And as soon as media starts talking about the Titans, they lose again. The best thing is just to be quiet and play and get the wins, stack the wins, do whatever. The one year the Titans did that, what happened? They went to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand how nobody's got that yet. You don't want national media to talk about you. Does it really matter if they talk about you? It doesn't matter. All that matters is wins and losses. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yep. And actually, I had to catch myself some with that as well. Actually, I mean, everything you said, I couldn't say it better myself. But sometimes, even as a fan, we can get like, "Hey, man, they don't talk about us enough." I finally this year, especially since I started this podcast, I don't really watch national media as much anymore personally because I get tired of hearing them talk about the Cowboys every day or the Lakers, same teams. It's like, okay, can y'all talk about not even just the Titans? Can you talk about? Let's talk about the Cardinals. Like they don't undefeated team left, and you talk about I understand Tom Brady returned to New England, but the Cardinals are the only undefeated team left. Like, and they beat the Rams, who just beat the Bucks. Like,
right.
So it's stuff like that. The reason I don't really watch really national media as much now, but it's kind of good because, like I said, people like you, me, and people like Damian Adams, shout out to him, Chris Dropball Pod, my own podcast network, got other podcasts to listen to, different opinions, so kind of works out in its own way.
Right.
But the Titans, like I said, it's an every year thing. I told my guy Ryan who just commented. I'm glad we got this out the way early in the season. Because normally, like last year against the Bengals, that was kind of the middle of the season last year when we had that game. But this is
that was the beginning. That was the beginning of the season because I remember that because I remember specifically talking about Vic Beasley out there looking like he's just playing patty cake, rushing the passer.
Don't remind me of him. I think it was game 7 because we had just lost our first game to the Steelers, so it was 6 because we were 5-0. So it's still kind of beginning,
Gotcha.
October-ish. But like I told him, I was like, glad we get this out the way. Now I will hope that we don't look down on another opponent.
Well, it is the Titans, and they do have their moments, and it has been their MO. So I would say this: no matter what you may think they might not
be
do,
prepared. Be
just be prepared for what they more than likely are gonna do. And unfortunately, they've shown it time and time again that when they start riding high, things like that, they eventually come back down to a team that they should never lose to.
Which I can see because here's some Titans fans. We got this tough 5-game stretch coming up. And you got the Bills, Chiefs, at Colts, at Rams versus Saints. Now, Titans fans, some fans are down talking about we're going to go 0-5. We know the Titans. They not.
I'll make a prediction. I'll make a prediction for that stretch. They'll go 4-1 during that stretch.
You smoke. You know what?
They'll go 4-1 during that stretch. Derrick Henry will keep going crazy. Mm-hmm. But what's going to end up happening is that offensive line is going to get some pride about themselves, make some things happen. And also, you got to think Bud Dupree is going to get healthy during that time. Because really, right now, he's not all the way healthy.
Nope. You know what's crazy? I agree with you. My whole thinking was like, we were going to go. My whole thinking before we lost to the Jets, get into that, find a way to win and get there at 4-1. Because not only us, other NFL teams have let down. The Ravens pretty much lost to the Lions. They got they had the biggest luck that happened at the end, but a win is a win. They won, but we could be saying the same about the Ravens right now too. So things happen in the field. But I was going 3-2, but since we lost to the Jets, to your point, I was like, we would mess around and go 4-1 this stretch now. Yeah, it wouldn't be a shock.
No, not at all. Because I mean, honestly, they'll have every team in that stretch will have their attention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we'll turn around, like you said, we'll turn around and have a slip up against who we play out there with the Patriots or somebody after that.
Man, it'll be Houston, Texas, man. You already know.
And Tyrod Taylor will be back too.
More than likely. I mean, they were playing good when he was there.
Mm-hmm. But before we get into some comments, I want to get into one specific player because I didn't record the episode last week, so I didn't get a chance to talk about this. Taylor Lewan came out last week. He said he felt a certain way about getting booed in the first game of the season. And he finally had a good game he came off of. So he had, built up a little, stamina to actually say that. Something that bothered him from 2-3 weeks ago. Then come out and what he do the last game. Horrible game. What's your thoughts about Taylor Lewan?
If you're so worried about what the fans are saying about you, then that means you're not focused on what you're supposed to do. So I know you're human. I know you're going to hear about the fans, but the thing is, you can't control how fans feel about you. You can still play great and fans boo you. What you can't control is what you do between those white lines. So take all that energy that you're spending talking to fans and things like that, bottle it up, use it for this week, use it for the game, use it for the guy in front of you, use it to hype your team up. However you want to use it that way. Because talking to the fans eventually, that's not going to do anything for you. It's not going to help you win. It's not going to help you lose. Sure, fans can get loud, but you still have to execute.
Perfectly said. My whole problem, I think, it was of course, it was split between Titans fans. Hey, man, get out of here. What you worried about the fans for? You got others. Hey, let him speak his mind. That's the problem with, people these days won't let nobody speak their mind. That's his feelings, like you just said.
Well, I got something for that. He can speak his mind, but the thing that people get lost in is that people can speak their mind, all right, but there's always going to be consequences or repercussions or somebody to retort back to you. Just because you speak your mind doesn't mean somebody just says nothing back to you.
Exactly. And you can't follow it up with the performance you had against the Jets. So now you really got to be talked bad about. So my whole thing was it happened in week 1. So why are we now hearing about this out in week 4?
I don't know. Maybe he's been chewing on it for a while. Maybe he's been just thinking about all the fans booing him. Honestly, I don't know. It just doesn't make much sense for that to come out now unless this was something that had been talked about and it just now is hitting light right now. That's the only thing I can think about.
It got to be, because it go back to your point of saying be focused on the task. And when you talk about that after the 2-game winning streak, it kind of
He just seemed
shows
out of
what happened.
place.
Yeah, and it kind of shows what happened Sunday. Like your mind wasn't on where it's supposed to be on. So hopefully, I know fans talking about cut him. I do kind of feel like if the season he's coming off torn ACL, so I understand slow start, everything, but it kind of seemed like he might be a cap casualty at the end of the season. But it's still very early. We got a lot of season left, so I don't make predictions this early. It's 4 weeks.
I don't think he'll be a cap casualty. I think not 2021. I think 2023, I believe as his contract is up around 24 or 25. 24. I think 2023 he could possibly be a cap casualty. In this offseason, I think he gets asked to restructure his deal.
Restructure, yeah. I can see that. But so we got a lot of season left. That's why I tell some Titans fans who jumping the gun, like I said, they're a fan. I kind of be trying to see, do they overreact or are all fan bases like this? I believe all fans bases are like this. We just, as Titans fans, I follow Titans fans, so that's why I see. If I follow Cowboys fans, I see the same thing. So
well, you always got that group of fans. The sky's falling and it's over, and after one game, and I'm like, okay, you know they're going to win in Seattle, right? I mean, I told plenty of people after they lost to Arizona, I'm like, you know they're going to win in Seattle. Oh, did you see how terrible they played? I'm like, look, study the pattern. Study the pattern of the Tennessee Titans. You know they will win Sunday. And I went back and told that same person, I was like, okay, now do you believe me? Now this week they might lose to the Jets. That's why I told him that too. And he looked at me like that was crazy. And then what happened? I was like, okay. But, I keep trying to tell people, it's once you watch the Titans, you understand their pattern of play. You just do.
And I think the hard thing to come to grips, and specifically for me, is we come in this season Super Bowl expectations. So it's like this is supposed to be the season. This is supposed to stop this pattern. So it's kind of hard to look at us as Super Bowl contender, especially now. It's early in the season, but at this current point, no, we're not. But things change. I mean, we got what 13 games left. Like a lot could change the rest of the season. You can,
I mean, it could be worse. You could have no defense like the Kansas City Chiefs.
Exactly, because our defense, and I've been taking up for our defense, even Sunday, the Jets didn't start getting off into the fourth quarter. That's my point. You got to have more than 9 points. That I can't get too much on the defense about getting tired by the time the fourth quarter come around, because the offense they scored enough points. The high power offense we're supposed to have.
I'll say this: the one thing that disappointed me a lot about the defense, of course, is the containment. Everybody talks about the defensive backs not being here, there, whatever. But where's the defensive ends and the linebackers to contain? They're nowhere to be found. And next thing you know, he's outside the pocket and throwing it down the field. And you're asking a defensive back to cover a wide receiver for X amount of seconds, which it's not excusing them getting beat deep, which that should never happen. But you're still asking them to cover for 6-7 seconds?
Yeah. NFL wide receivers.
Right. Exactly.
Jamison Crowder was back. Corey Davis, revenge game. He wanted to show out.
Yep. You knew it. And the fact that they didn't offer him a contract, that made it even more personal to him.
Which I personally didn't have a problem with. I don't know how you felt on it, but I spoke about this on the show. Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith, when we needed them in the biggest moments last season, last couple of years, in playoff time came around, especially the Ravens game last year. They both know where to be found. So what they got paid, I was like, oh, I'm glad the Titans paid them that. We could have used their money.
I'll say this. I think they miss Jonnu Smith more than they miss Corey Davis.
Definitely.
And the reason why, because I was listening to Teron Davenport. I was listening to him earlier today, and he was absolutely 100% correct. They miss Jonnu Smith in the red zone. Because right now in the red zone, they're having to figure out all kind of different things to get to score. when Jonnu Smith was a weapon that nobody could really do anything with, especially in the red zone. They had 18 TDs in the red zone last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so to me, that's the biggest person they're missing. They could have did without Corey Davis, in my opinion.
Right.
But, to me, you offer him a certain amount of money, and if he doesn't take it, you let him walk. But that was kind of bad that you didn't really offer him anything.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that either.
Oh, he actually said it.
Yeah, I know. He said, yeah. I'll say I didn't know that before he said it.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't think probably many people didn't know. But yeah, I didn't know that before he said it. I was like, oh, wow. But probably because they already knew they was going to try to trade for Julio. Maybe not. But like you said, which I knew, I do agree on that end because I did. My takeaway from Sunday, offensive line is bad. I don't know what much more we can do. Maybe we can sign Mr. Schwartz, make a trade. But tight end, I was like, Jeff Swain can't. No, I'm sorry. No. Anthony Ferguson, number one tight end. I like Michael Pruitt.
Yeah, he's been the best tight end. Michael Pruitt's been the best tight end.
He should be tight end one right now, but we probably need to be trying to look for a tight end.
I'll say this: they'll probably stick with who they got, but I think as they get healthier at that position, I think God, I cannot remember that guy's name. The starter now,
Ferguson.
I think Ferguson will be all right once he gets healthy. He's just, I think he's still kind of favoring that knee, figuring out what's going on there. And once he gets healthy, I think definitely he'll be a factor in the offense.
Yeah, I actually see. I think we rush injuries a lot. Like I said, Taylor Warren, I'm struggling. He come off torn ACL. Bud Dupree come out torn ACL. Caleb Farley coming off an injury. Like we kind of do need to be more patient. Nate Davis is struggling this year, but he was on the COVID list a week before the season started. Ryan Tannehill, the same thing. So we just need to preach patience. Fan base don't like to hear that, but it's still early in the season. This is where you work the kinks out. So come out just 2-2.
Biggest thing is to get hot at the right time, not get hot the entire season.
Exactly. Like we did, 2 years ago.
Right.
So let's check into some comments. Got Ryan, the Jags get paid just like any other team. Yeah, yes, they do. Then this was a while back. I don't remember what part he was laughing at, but I know it had to be dealing with the Jags. He said Titans usually would do the opposite of what you think they should do. Yep. Like we alluded to. Al Pierce. Oh, yeah. Al Pierce said, yeah, tighten up, guys. Kick Jacksonville, Jaguar tail. Order struck. Let's go. Tighten up. He said 4-1. How about 5-0?
Look, you pushing it.
Yeah.
They go 5-0.
That's
I'm gonna need Al Pierce to go play the lottery and give everybody play the lottery that day. Just go play the lottery.
We got 5-0 in this stretch. I better not see. We better win the rest of our games this season. We better be 15-2. We do that. I can't.
Yeah. They were 15-2. Boy, oh boy, they definitely would get talked about then.
Right. What do you say? He's waiting to have a good game. I thought Taylor won. Yep, he had a good game. Then addressed the issue. Then had a bad game.
Good old Taylor won.
Just Wayne got to go like yesterday. Yes,
he'll be here. He's not going anywhere. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Ryan, but he's not going anywhere. I mean, just as soon as you start saying he needs to go like yesterday, he'll end up be like, "Oh, glad we got him on our team." That always ends up.
I say one thing: he do need to be. Ferguson gets healthier, and Michael Pruitt definitely earns more snaps than him at this point. And I like Michael Pruitt before we let him go.
He went to the 49ers.
Yeah, this offseason. Yep, 49ers. Y'all got rid of him. He's right back. So,
but we got too many tight ends.
Y'all do. And George Kittle on my fantasy team, so I need him to keep producing.
Yeah, well, you should have got Debo because Debo's been the man.
I know. I had him last year. He got hurt, so it kind of messed up.
Hamstrings, man.
Yeah, we see it. AJ Brown and Julio.
Yeah, right.
Both of them. Right. And Ian Teasy, what up? What up, fellas? What they do?
What's going on, man?
All right, so let's go and get into the preview. Titans-Jags. As we alluded to, Jags 0-4, Titans 2-2. First place in AFC South. Question: do you think the AFC South is the worst division this season?
Oh, that's a good question. you do have the NFC North, which you got the Vikings, the Packers, the Lions, and the Bears. But Lions, Tigers, and Bears are that division. Let's see. You got the AFC East. I don't know. You might say they might be the worst division in the NFL. They might be.
I forgot about
you got the Jags and the Texans, and that really weighs your division down.
Mm-hmm. Then the Colts had a tough schedule. They also took 5 games they had to start out. So I kind of expect them to get it going. Some Carson Wentz needs to get healthy and stay healthy. That'll be a
I'm just trying to figure out how you sprain 2 ankles in one game. That still boggles my mind thinking about it.
I thought he did on the same play at first. I'm glad to see he didn't do it on the same play because that would have been really, really crazy. But the same game is still wild in itself.
Very much. I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm like, I'm just trying to figure out how was he walking. I'm like, how are you walking with you limping on both ankles? I don't understand it, but okay.
Ryan said he still think NFC East is worse. I can see that.
Let's see. We got you do got the Giants, you do got the Eagles,
and the Redskins.
I will say this though, the Eagles
the Redskins
points though. The Eagles
football
not
team.
terrible, but then you got the football team. Yeah, you might have a point there, Ryan. You might have a point there, to be honest, but I don't think you have 2 teams as bad as the Texans and the Jaguars in that division.
Yeah, I think even the Giants. So it's lucky both New York teams had the upset. The Saints lost at home to the Giants, so you could argue that was the worst loss than us at the Jets.
Well, I'll say this though: the Titans loss is still worse because the Saints, you kind of are still trying to figure them out. The Titans, you kind of know what they are.
Right. Okay, that's what I said. I said you can argue it, but you said, I think the difference, we were supposed to be Super Bowl contenders. The Saints, maybe playoffs, but nobody was thinking them at Jameis Winston as a Super Bowl threat.
They'll definitely make the playoffs. They'll definitely make the playoffs.
Well, it depends on the Panthers.
Yeah, Panthers are a little tougher than what I thought. And then they just picked up
Stephon
Gilmore. And then the week before picked up CJ Henderson.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're pretty deep at cornerback right now.
Yeah. Ian Teasy, AFC South and NFC North are the worst. Touche. I do think the Vikings are a little better than their record, but we'll see what happens the rest of the season. What's called finally named the starter, Justin Fields in Chicago, but we'll see. Yeah. I don't expect much from the Bears.
I mean, honestly, I cursed myself this fantasy football season because I drafted a Bears wide receiver. I don't know why I did that.
I got Allen Robinson too.
I'm sorry. That's what I was gonna say. I'm sorry, Allen Robinson.
I got him too because he still produced even with Trubisky. But
look, I took him out. Look, you know what made me even more mad last week is I had Cordero Patterson sitting on my bench and Allen Robinson. That's what made me even more mad last week.
Dang, I missed that. I thought about getting Cordero Patterson too, like when he was on the waiver wire, like beginning of the season.
I scooped him up. I ain't waste no time. I scooped him up.
AFC don't look good. AFC East. Yeah, I think that division can be up there because the Dolphins are worse than we thought. Tua getting hurt definitely affects that. Patriots start off 1-3. I still think they're a little better. We'll see how the rest of the season go with them. And Jets are the Jets. They did beat us, but I still don't expect much from them.
I'll still say this though: you put the Jets versus the Texans, and you put the Jaguars versus the Patriots, and you see what happens. I think the AFC East is gonna win that one out.
I don't know. Give me Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, and
yeah. I hear you. Yeah,
because I did have the Texans going 0-17, so that was already a fault on my part coming into the season.
I actually had them winning more games than that, and honestly, right now, I was probably the only person that had them winning the first game against the Jags. Against the Jags, yeah.
I should have known better.
I mean, you got a rookie quarterback going against Lovie Smith. He of the Bears defense and the Rams defense as well. Mm-hmm. Nah, he ain't gonna let that slide.
Nope. Lovie still. That's the thing. People gotta learn. Some coaches are just better as coordinators. Lovie Smith is a prime example. Like some people can't be head coaches, and you shouldn't be down on a coach because they suck as a coach, but they're good as a coordinator. You just need to hire them at their coordinator position.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. It's just, It is what it is.
Let's get back to the Jags Titans preview. What Titans already had? They just had to upset. Do you think they can get upset again the second week in a row after what happened last
Yes.
week?
Yes, they can. And the biggest reason they can is Urban Meyer. And people are going to think I'm crazy saying the biggest reason is Urban Meyer, but just hear me out. The players were laughing at him apparently after he said he was sorry about what happened. So what does that tell you when the whole room uproars and laughs about that when he leaves the room? That means that locker room is together. That locker room comes together and plays and wins despite him. It potentially could happen. Although I will say the Jaguars are still a jelly donut on defense. You know, they got the hard exterior but the soft in the middle.
Hey, man, that was a good one. And that's the reason I got us. Well, I don't do really predictions on when Titans win or lose, but Derrick Henry versus the Jags is kind of like just a current team that happens every year. Kind of, I don't know what he sees against them, but he definitely just sees them and just goes. But I do got a stat there. I saw somebody, league_winner, tweet this out. Since Mike Vrabel has become the coach of the Titans in 2018, the Titans are 0-4 against rookie quarterbacks. Lost to Josh Allen.
4-4 against what? I'm sorry?
Rookie quarterbacks.
Ooh.
Lost to Josh Allen and the Bills in 2018. Lost to Gardner Minshew in 2019, the Jags. Lost to Joe Burrow last year. And last week, Zach Wilson.
Huh. Did not know that one. But I will say this, though. The Jaguars, there's a certain particular guy, you know, since we're in October and it's Halloween, you know, Derrick Henry is kind of their boogeyman. So, you know, expect for him to kind of go off and, you know, creep up on them like Michael Myers.
Oh, man. So, hopefully, we get one of the receivers, at least one of them back to AJ Brown, Julio. Because, and Titans fans argue about third, fourth, fifth, sixth wide receiver all offseason. Like I always say, those positions, if your top stars get hurt, it don't matter. If the Chiefs lose Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, Pringle and them are not number one receivers.
Right. They can only masquerade as number one receivers, but for so long.
Exactly. So that's any team. Sometimes fans argue, hey, what if AJ get hurt? And we messed up anyway, because look at the 49ers last year. Prime example. Y'all had all the injuries last year. Yeah. I bet you knew the season. And so much for this season. Like, it's you need your stars. So backups are not stars for a reason. They're in their roles. So that's my whole thing on it. So I always do not so much a prediction, but a key to win. So for the Titans, offense and defense, special teams, to me, kick your field goals. Make sure you don't slip up. You know, don't do nothing stupid. Don't have no stupid penalties, muffin punts. Try and get good field position. It's kind of the same thing you need to do down special teams. But offense and defense, what's the key to win on both ends to beat the Jags?
Key to win, communication offensively. Reason why I say that is, you know, of course, Derrick Henry went off last week. Ryan Tannehill had you know, his yards as well, almost 300 yards passing. But the thing is, communication hurt them, especially on third downs in the red zone. I mean, of course, not communicating up and down the line, who's going to block who's got what, who's got this, so to allow explosive plays to happen and the scores to happen. So communication to me is a key thing to look for, as well as, you know, red zone production. Those are the key thing offensively. Defensively, I would say containment one, but you really don't have to worry. I wouldn't say you don't have to worry about that with Trevor Lawrence, because he has shown the ability to be able to escape the pocket. But just, you know, do what you're supposed to do. They can stop the run. We know that. They can rush the passer. Harold Landry's been after the quarterback all season. They just have to contain and keep him in the pocket. Make him have to beat you with his arm and throw in to small windows. So if he has to throw in the small windows, he's going to give you a couple turnovers right there.
And I think I definitely agree. Both ends. On my goal, defense, I think I've said this almost every game. Contain. Now, first couple weeks we had elusive quarterbacks, Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. My goals were to contain them, not necessarily sack them because they can get away. Did pretty well with Russell Wilson, not so well with Kyler Murray. Last week we let Zach Wilson escape and get some throws down the field. Hopefully we got somebody. Hopefully either Robertson. I think he got put on IR, so never mind. Hopefully both Dupree can play, but we were thin on the defensive line, edge rusher last week. We need to honestly. I always thought we should implement Rashawn Evans at edge, but we seem to never want to do that because that linebacker, he's
Well, I'll say this: it more than likely, I don't see him getting a second contract with the Titans.
No, we don't. We don't want him either. But man, it's crazy. But defense contain. Trevor Lawrence, I saw him. He had the breakaway run, and not championship, but semifinals against Ohio State a couple years ago. So he can escape. So contain his rookie quarterback. His top wide receiver, DJ Chark, is out. I think he's out for the season now. So
broken ankle.
Yep. Chenault is the one we got to worry about. Viscous Chenault. Definitely can get yards after the catch. That speedster. I say watch out for him. But make sure.
You got Marvin Jones too.
That's right. That's who I want. I want the Titans to get him this offseason. So
yeah, it would have been a good pickup to put alongside, but of course, Julio ended up being the guy.
Right. So like I said, contain rookie quarterback. Finally get a win over rookie quarterback. I mean, come on, Mike Rabel. Gotta do better than that. Offense. Offensive line, like I said, communication is key with all of this. Offensive line really needs to play better. Tannehill got hit 15 times last week. 7 sacks. 17 sacks throughout the whole season. At this rate, he's not finna stay healthy. Right.
Yeah, we're going to see Logan Woodside at this rate.
Right. So they got to get together. Nate Davis, been struggling so far. I give you the COVID thing. Taylor Warren, get your mind out the gutter. Titans fans talking about his podcast. I hope he ever recorded a podcast show since the.
I think he does those during the season. I literally think he does during those. He used to do it with Will Compton.
Yeah, he still do Will Compton. Man. So just
Will Compton blocked me on IG one time.
What'd you do? What'd you do?
Well, I wrote a story about how he wasn't the guy to be the starting linebacker for them. And I actually talked about a couple different times and gave a couple different examples. Of course, he sent me a nice little message. Before I could actually capture it, he blocked me.
Oh, wow. I think all of us could have an interesting story about that. I don't think I've been blocked, but I did have Marcus Spears did tweet me one time. I think when Julio first got traded to the Titans, I messed around finally watched national media, watched NFL Live, which I actually do like NFL Live. Marcus Spears is actually one of my favorite analysts on TV. But I think when they was talking about Julio getting traded, nobody mentioned the Titans. And he had said something specifically about the Ravens. So he had tweeted like, "Oh, that's a good pickup for the Titans." I was like, "Nah, don't mention us now. You didn't mention us before." And he tweeted back to me. He tweeted back, "Go cry." Then I actually retweeted him with the crying emojis. For fun, he had liked it too, so I'm pretty sure he might have been laughing. So. But yeah, I think offense communication. We pretty much Derrick Henry is kind of a big bet. He's like the only person for him to be that size, to be that physical, to be that fast. He never seems to be hurt. I've never seen him have a nagging. I think he had a hamstring 2 years ago.
Knock on wood, please, sir.
Knock it out. It's just crazy because it's like, wow, like you would expect maybe he would have something, but he's like, he's really like not human, man. Like,
well, if you see his training, you would understand why he doesn't get injured. His training is otherworldly.
Yeah, I see it. Hey, more power to him. Need to teach AJ Brown and Julio that, but receivers different. They do a lot of cuts at receiver. I play receivers. Yeah, it's a little more extensive at receiver. But yeah, those are the keys to winning. So I guess I'm gonna do predictions since you're not a fan of either team. Titans, Jags. What's your prediction?
Well, I mean, I'll say this though. I do support the hometown team and wish they do well. They're just not my favorite team. Mm-hmm. But as far as the game, I'll say Titans will come out the Jags will come out with a lot of energy, a little jazzed up since they at home, like they've been doing. They'll be up as many as maybe like 7 to 10 points. Then the avalanche comes, and the boogeyman comes, and it's all over. I'll say the Titans will put up 27 points. The Jaguars will put up 10, so it'll be 27 to 10. Titans win.
And I actually agree. I kind of see, like I said, if the whole thing with Urban Meyer, it's either gonna go one, two ways. So they just gonna go out and just get flat blown out,
Right.
or they'll come out on house fire, like I said, go up by 7 or 10. Then, like I said, the boogeyman you prefer him to, make sure to tweet that out. Derrick Henry come through, and not so much save today, but we'll kind of run away, make the comeback, and run away with it in the end. Kind of look like a blowout, but probably feel like more of a better ball game than the final score probably dictate.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. It'll be close for a little bit, but then at the end, they'll go ahead and scoot on out there.
Yeah. And let's look at some more comments. Ryan had them beating the Jags. 2. Al Pierce looking loose again, unless they want Ustra to come down there. They do. They need that.
Boy.
They need that right now. Power Hour. What's up, you sharp? What it do, man? Listen, man, check out the Power Hour show. I was on his show earlier last month. So check him out. Another Titans podcaster. We got a solid group of Titans podcasters, which I do like for the fact, like I said, about national media. No, they'll talk about Titans. So listen to our podcast if you want hear Titans talk.
Create your own buzz.
Right. But we all obviously on the segment with I used to say bold prediction, but now it's pretty much been upset pick of the week. I mean, the first 4 weeks it's been like I'm choosing a team to upset somebody. So I just changed the name to upset pick. So looking through the NFL schedule, what is your upset pick for week 5?
I've been kind of going back and forth on a couple upsets. I'm kind of trying to decide what I want to go with. Here's what I'm going to roll with. I'm going to roll with the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Denver Broncos.
I can see that. They're at home too.
Right. I mean, even though we know that, as in the famous words of Bomani Jones, that Ben Roethlisberger is DUN done. But, I just think they get something out of Ben this week. They get something out of that defense because I think Melvin Ingram has been playing well. And I think they get TJ Watt back this week. I just think they come up with enough to beat the Broncos. Even though I'm happy that Teddy B is playing well, I just don't think they get it done this week. Even though I will say, I don't know if Teddy B's playing.
Yeah, obviously he got hurt.
If Drew Lockwood is playing this game, definitely. I'm putting all my money on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So my Pittsburgh Steelers brethren, guys from Let's Be Real podcast, Skyler and Trevor, host of the Pittsburgh County podcast, both of them. Well, they're on they just want to lose out and get a quarterback. They ready. They off the Big Ben train. My guy Savage definitely said he don't think Big Ben to see no more. I think we're seeing the end of him right now, but I don't know if there's a quarterback in the draft that's good coming out next year.
I'm not ready to study it just yet, but I will say that when I am ready to study it, I do have somebody in mind that I could bring on to kind of break down the quarterbacks.
Okay. Yeah.
That'll help any football fans, not just AFC South fans.
Right. So I'm looking forward to that one. As of right now, it's not looking too pretty, but I was out. I didn't see much from Justin Herbert in college, and look at him now. So, hey. You could be wrong. That's how it happens. Systems play a part into that. You might be in a certain system that don't work, then you get the probably pro style quarterback playing the spread system, or vice versa. Gets in the NFL and play in your actual system, or team build offense around you like Baltimore did with Lamar Jackson. So things like that happen. So they do want Dwayne Haskins to get a shot. So
yes, Dwayne Haskins needs to get a shot. I mean, honestly, I'm looking at Big Ben and his arm. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, honestly, and you remember when he used to run away from people sometimes? Mm-hmm. Now it looks like he's running in molasses when he's trying to run away from people. It just, I've seen enough And I mean, it's time to go ahead and call it a day. I mean,
It
I'll
is.
say this: I'm not one to tell an athlete when they need to be done, but it's looking more and more like he's closer to done now.
It is. And I think I really believe just towards the end of last season, he's kind of looking like Peyton Manning in his end, where the first half of the season he was okay, he was pretty good. Then the last half it was just like boom. Then he came back the next season, he wasn't good. It's kind of like Big Ben last year, started out pretty good. In the last season on the dud, come back this season, it's kind of like the same exact as Peyton Manning. It kind of feels the same exact way. So yeah, they're ready. I think they want them to lose so they can go on and bench Big Ben. If they win, guess what? He's probably gonna keep playing. So yeah, so they're ready to go ahead and get him out. I have a feeling, Brett Favre, if finally took him just finally getting hit real hard and got hurt and just
Right.
knock him out. So I was like, it's probably gonna take that. But dang, Drew Brees last year arm went away. It's just crazy. Tom Brady is 44 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of a kind. Okay.
I don't know. It's just that it's that TB12 training,
Yep.
whatever that's supposed to mean. I have no idea what that means. It's almost like like that where people talk about a game face. What's a game face? And Bob Knight starts making all those faces.
Yeah.
That's what face I make when people tell me about TB12 training. I'm like, what is it supposed to be? Some kind of special training that Superman and Batman and all the superheroes do or something? I mean, what is it? Somebody please explain it to me.
Yeah, we will never get an explanation. Like we will never get an explanation why Malcolm Butler didn't play in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick.
I was actually there. I was there that
Really?
entire week covering that Super Bowl.
Wow.
So that was I watched Josina Anderson talk to him, and actually when they had all the players downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually saw Malcolm Butler, and they kept that one pretty close to the vest. I mean, there was a lot of stories going on about why he wasn't playing, and we never got the truth out of that one. But there was a lot of stuff stirred around about that.
Mm-hmm. And shout out, hopefully, like I said, prayers out to Malcolm Butler. He's on the retired list, personal, whatever happened in personal life. Like I said, former Titan last year was pretty good. My best defensive player, arguably, last year. So definitely prayers out to him. Hopefully, everything's going on, gets better, whatever he's going through in his personal life. But my upset pick of the week, looking at the schedule, the Bengals are 3-1, but them being the Packers would be considered an upset.
Okay.
You mean the Bengals? They played them at home. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers is actually my favorite player, but I could see him, if not so much laying an egg, but I could see Joe Burrow outdoing him. Packers defense have left a lot to be desired this season so far, in my opinion. So I can see Cincinnati putting up points. And the road games, I can see Green Bay. They lay their egg. They saw week one. They won 3 in a row. I can see them laying another egg in Cincinnati. So that's my upset pick.
Well, it'd be interesting, definitely, if Cincinnati won. They definitely would get a lot more respect in the NFL.
Oh yeah, they'll be looked at as legit AFC North contenders at that point.
Right. With them in the that'd be a pretty strong division with those three, and then what is it? Who is it at the bottom? That'd be Pittsburgh at the bottom. That'd be funny.
It so would. Oh man, that's Mike Tomlin has never had a losing record.
Yeah, it's true. I don't think he starts this year, but he might be 500.
Man, well, he can't be 500 no more. 17 games.
Oh yeah, well 9-8. Yeah, you're right.
Got to get to 9-8. Ooh. Well, I got a comment that you might like for an upset pick. 49ers beating the Cards.
I started to want to say that one, but then I also was like, nah, I'm not going to get in that. But I am interested if Jimmy G does not play, which you get Trey Lance in an entire game. So that ought to be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. And I can see that the Cards before last week, weeks 1 against us and weeks 4 last week, they looked pretty dominant against good teams. The middle against lesser opponents, they kind of against Minnesota. I guess Minnesota is considered lesser in that case. Barely won. I mean, took a wide right field goal for them when they went. Then the Jags, they started out struggling. Probably took them lightly and came back on. But I could see them out those division games. I still could see them possibly looking, especially if Jimmy G ain't playing. I could see them like Oh, we got this rookie quarterback, and y'all can come away. And San Francisco's still good. Man, it's no Jimmy G rarely loses when he plays. So if he plays, I definitely can see it. If he don't play, I can see them having no real true. Trey Lance has played, but you ain't got no full game film of it. So division rivalry, I can see it. And he also said he could see the Eagles beating the Panthers.
I started it. That's the one I started to mention.
So on this real podcast, it's 6 of us. We got 2 Steelers fans, we got a Cowboys fan, and we got a Panthers and Eagles fan. Last week, Panthers and Cowboys fan, Telf and Sheedy went at it. Now Telf and Savage about to go at it this week. And they already saw the stuff talking in our group me. So I can see that. But that's our upset picks of the week. So this is the end of the show, man. Once again, thank you for coming on. Last remarks or wherever I can follow you at again.
Again, thank you for having me on. Appreciate it. Definitely got a nice setup here, man. Just keep plugging at it, keep doing your thing, man, and eventually, everything will all come where it's supposed to come, man.
I appreciate it.
As far as how anyone can reach me, you can reach me on Twitter again at MikePatton82. That's MikePatton 82 on Twitter. And of course, you can find me on all listening platforms touring the AFC South.
Yep, and check them out. They have a new episode dropping tomorrow as well. And I would, of course, I'll be retweeting it out. I tweet out everything where everybody can follow you and your show as well. So y'all always remember you can follow me at my own personal _P Shark, and it'll be all tightened up for the podcast page. Reason I got separates because I got 3 podcasts. I got a Grease's podcast, Starting 5 podcast, got a whole podcast network, Let's Real podcast, and Let's Tighten Up. So all this came after my personal account. So that's the reason I got different accounts. I literally got 5 Twitter accounts. Let's Real Media, the whole entity.
Wowie.
Let's Real Sports, Started 5, Titans in this one. So crazy stuff. But before we go, I made this video clip being promoting for our Let's Be Real Media team. So here we go again. Welcome to Let's Be Real Media, a podcast network that provides your official game plan for sports, culture, and music. Headlined by the Let's Be Real podcast, featuring P Shark, Scott Lido, Tel Shakir, Trevor, Sheedy, and Savage, and includes other podcasts like the I Don't Know Sports podcast by Savage, the Let's Tighten Up podcast by P Shark, Scooting with Sheedy by none other, the name says it itself, Sheedy, Pittsburgh County podcast by Trevor, and Let's Talk About It by Uncle Mike. You can follow us on social media at LB Real Media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And as you can see, the website, go on the website, lbrealmedia.com to check us out. Thanks. Yep. Check out the whole Let's Be Real Media team. And one last comment, my guy Ryan, the burner accounts. Basically, that show really could use once a burner, but now got real information. NBA season started. So like I said, started 5, number 5 MEM every Monday, starting next week. We've been doing every other week off season, but NBA season starting. So got a lot of content that's going to be dropping.
Oh man, look forward to seeing it, man.
I ain't for sure. But till next time, everyone, let's this week tighten up, as you can see the title of the show. Peace.